Exciting day. Hadn't seen you guys in a while. How y'all doing? Great, great. How you doing, Phil?
Outstanding.
Awesome. That's great to see you. We got better today, and I'll say the same thing every year. We'll know about this class in 2 or 3 years. At the end of the day, you got football's a developmental game, and the recruiting process is the evaluation, the recruitment, and then the development when they get on campus. And that's the process that we're in right now as far as that's concerned when they get here. The last 2 signing classes have produced 18 starters, 2 captains, and really only the second and third captains elected as true sophomores in school history. So it says you something about the character of the guys we've got. 9 contributors, so we the last 2 signing classes have produced a bunch of good football players for us that enable us to continue to make some progress in our program. But 13 of the guys we signed in December are on campus right now, and I'm going to kind of recap those guys. We started our all-season with our players on Monday, and I've been very pleased with the 13 guys we've got on campus. I can tell you that starting at the quarterback position with Taekwon Johnson, extremely athletic, but all of the it factor as far as the intangibles are concerned, his effort and his toughness and mental toughness. And this is a very difficult process for these guys right now. We're doing the early morning runs and some things they've never done before, but you can see why he was 40-3 as a starter at Fort Dorchester High School for Coach LaPrade. So really excited about him. Levante Valentine is still coming off his ACL surgery, so he's unable to participate, and I'm going to recap the guys that we're going to miss in spring at the end here. But excited about Levante. Deshaun Fenwick, 6'1", 225 from Braden River. He's an explosive guy to watch him go through the workouts. Got to get used to the endurance and that part of it, but excited about him. Darius Rush from C.E. Murray, 6'2", up to 190 pounds. He's about 175 when we recruited him, so our nutrition program's taken over for him, which is good. 3 offensive linemen. Hank Manos, 6'4", he's about 275 now. Moves extremely well. Great work ethic. Really excited about Hank and his future in our program. Wyatt Campbell is coming off of meniscus surgery. He will go through spring, but he's not partaking right now. But again, 6'5", 290 pounds. Max Yamai from Siegel up in Tennessee, 6'5", 308. Moves extremely well for a big man carrying that much weight. So really excited about those 3 guys. Defensive lineman, Taekwon Johnson, 6'2", 260 from Lakewood over in Sumter, and a guy that, again, you're watching him move around in the drills. Again, we're not playing football yet, but you like the athleticism and the movement skills of Tyreek. J.J. Mbare is a guy that really stands out from Hapeville Charter over in Atlanta, 6'4", 260, and really, really pleased to see his movement skills and competitive edge and those sort of things, which you always got to have in a young player. Ernest Jones has got a fracture in his back that he sustained from high school, and we saw it on the test when he came in. So he's going to probably miss spring, but he's going to be fine after spring. He'll be back playing ball, but they don't want him to have any contact this spring, and he's been very limited in the all-season program. But excited about Ernest. Rosendo Lewis from Deerfield Beach, 6'2", 245. Runs extremely well for a big man. He's got pass rush ability. Another guy that we're really excited about in our program. And 2 defensive backs, R.J. Rodrick from Cane Bay, 6 foot, about 215, and really competing well out there. And then Israel Mamuke, 6'4", 195, and will play corner. Watching him for 3 days, he has the feet, the change of direction. Obviously, again, we're not playing football yet, but this guy's got the skills to play on the edge and play outside. We wanted to get longer in the secondary, and signing he and JC certainly have helped us in those positions. December signees, excited about Josh Van from Tucker, played for Coach Lamar there, and a receiver. He did have shoulder surgery, but he will be cleared by June to be able to go through the summer program. So that set him back a little bit, but he should be fine. Taekwon Johnson from Screven County, excited about his athleticism and length and what he brings to the table. Offensive lineman Javon Gwynn from Harding, played for Sam Griner up there, a powerful athlete. You know, we needed to really improve ourselves in quality depth on both lines of scrimmage, and I think we've been able to do that. Defensive lineman Jesus Gibbs, we started recruiting him as an offensive lineman from Potomac High School up in Virginia, but a guy that athletically, you watch his senior tape, he's playing tight end, he's playing defense, and we saw him in the summer workout. Athletically, he could be a defensive lineman, but he's right at 6'4", 285 pounds right now, and his athleticism is going to certainly help us moving forward. Jabari Ellis originally from North Marion, but over at GMC, played for Burt Williams there. A 6'2", 285-pound guy that, we're really looking forward to hopefully getting him here in May to get an extra month like we did with Javon last year. And then J.C. Horn from Alpharetta High School is a defensive back. Again, we wanted to improve our length and certainly did with J.C., a guy that we're excited about, and we certainly got better today. Dylan Wanham, 6'5", 320 from Tucker High School, again from Coach Lamar, a guy that I've got tremendous respect for, but very athletic, great balance, body control, guy that, from a protection standpoint can set the edge, can play right or left tackle, and a guy that we're really excited about. Of course, we know his brother DJ, Dennis Jr., and his dad Dennis and Consuelo, his mom, a great family. Getting to know the Warnham family in the 2 years I've been here with Dennis has been awesome. So we're really excited about Dylan. And then Rick Sandage from Concord, 6'5", 285, a very powerful man inside that can, obviously anchor, but he has wiggle enough to be able to slide out, play end in our regular package, very similar to what we've done with some guys before. But an athletic big man that can run, that can push the pocket, he can win in the pass rush, and really have enjoyed the recruiting process with Rick Sr. and Keisha and Brittany, his sister. Getting to know that family, and I really appreciate them being Gamecocks. But that was a huge emphasis for me going into this process, was on both lines of scrimmage, to improve our quality depth, to get bigger, to get longer, to get more athletic. We signed 5 offensive linemen, 5 defensive linemen, and we hit the explanation point today with Dylan and Ricky. So really excited about those guys. Spring practice starts February 28th. The spring game will be on March 31st at noon. And it's really interesting. This first time in my coaching career, because of all the mid-years, we only have 4 offensive scholarship and 5 defensive scholarship players that won't be in spring that are on our campus right now. So you're talking in terms of great numbers and depth in spring practice. Will certainly benefit from that. Some roster news: Terry Gouger obviously was forced to give up the game, and I hate that for Terry. Wonderful young man. He's working with us in recruiting and helping, on the side there as far as that, and just a great young man. I hate that anytime something like this happens, but certainly going to support him in every way we can. Spring ball, Bryson Allen Williams will be limited. Don't really know how much contact and things he will be able to do, but he will be out there. Jalen Dickerson will be out, but he'll be good for the fall. He is progressing extremely well, and so we feel very comfortable there. Antoine Wilder is going to have surgery tomorrow on his elbow, and he will be out. It's an unfortunate deal there, but again, he'll be a guy that will push through it. Ben Asbury's got an ACL, and he will be out for spring, will be back for fall. Mon Denson will be limited in the knee surgery that he had postseason. I think he'll be back after spring break. We're going to have 5 practices before spring break and finish up when we come back. Ernest Jones, I addressed earlier, has a fracture in his back. Debo Samuel will be cleared but will be limited for spring. Aaron Thompson had shoulder surgery. He will be out. I addressed Levante Valentine earlier with the knee, and then Jam obviously will be out with the shoulder. So other than that, we're pretty healthy after 3 days of the all-season program, and I'll open it up for any questions.
Will, with the 2 commitments today, both 4-star, pretty high-ranking guys, just how crucial was it to, like you said, get that exclamation point on the end of this class?
Huge. And at the end of the day, 2 very athletic big men that had offers from everybody in the country, and our guys' staff did a fantastic job of solidifying those guys coming. Felt good about it all along because we had done a nice job in recruiting the guys, and excited they're Gamecocks.
The math is right that you have 2 spots left now. Mm-hmm. Do you plan on using them this cycle or holding on to them?
Well, you got to use them in this cycle with the new rules. You can't hold them on to next season, so you got a limit there. So certainly you're always recruiting.
Do you have in mind either of those 2 spots who it might be? Do you have
Absolutely.
For one or both of them?
Both of them.
Compared to the day you took over to today, what's your comfort level with this roster? Not just its talent, but its makeup, your positional balance, your class balance, et cetera.
I think that numbers-wise, we're very good across the board. If you want to look at generally in terms of the quarterback position, 4 scholarship players. I believe we have 7 scholarship players at the running back position. We're at 6 at tight end. We're now at 17 or 18 on the offensive line. Which you want to be at 15 to 17 there as far as your developmental position. Receiver, I believe we're at 10 or 11. As far as I always look in terms of numbers of 16 big guys up front defensively, a combination of tackle, nose, and buck, guys that can rush the passer. And then 8 or 9 of those need to be inside players totally. And I think we have 9 at this point. I think we're at 7 or 8 at linebacker, 6 at safety, and maybe 6 or 7 at corner. So our numbers are good. We're a little short in the secondary, and we're a little inexperienced going into next year, especially at the safety position in the secondary. So, as far as the numbers are concerned, you're never going to be satisfied, but obviously standing in our all-season program Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week as opposed to 2 years ago is night and day as far as the girth of our football team, the length, the athleticism, the guys that jump out at you athletically that you feel like at different places I've been that compare very favorably.
How would you say Eric Wolford has done in rebuilding the offensive line, and what kind of reputation has he built as a recruiter, both for this class and into the future?
Well, Wolf is persistent. He works at it. He works extremely hard at it. He does a really good job of developing the relationship with the type of young men that he wants to coach and the type mentality that they need to have to play for him. And so, again, I think he's done a fantastic job. I really like the mental makeup of the room that we have. And moving forward, I feel very confident that we'll continue to improve the position.
Coach, here in the back, you mentioned earlier about Taekwon Joyner. You liked a lot of his intangibles. I just wonder, as you bring him along within your system, do you have plans to try to find a way to incorporate this young man into your plans for this season?
Oh, it's way too early to talk about all that. At the end of the day, he's working extremely hard. He's got all the intangibles you want at the position and positively affecting everybody around him. And we want guys that are going to help us win football games. And if Taekwon's in that conversation, absolutely.
Hey, Coach, right here. Just wondering, for a guy who maybe doesn't qualify academically, what's kind of the protocol for you? Do you try to help him along, a guy that you're really interested in, or do you just kind of lay off until he gets those, gets the academics up?
Well, right now, as far as unless they're completed high school, none of them are academically eligible. I mean, they've got to complete their senior year in order to be eligible. Now, some guys are a little further away than others. So, at the end of the day, you've got to project it as the head coach and say, is this young man going to be admissible to the University of South Carolina at the end of the day? Because once you lose that number, it's over. You don't get that number back. So those are decisions you have to make as the head coach, whether or not you're going to support a young man in an academic situation.
Coach, you mentioned Terry helping out with recruiting. Just what's his role and how beneficial is it for a guy to be from this program to kind of be there to talk to recruits and help out
absolutely. A guy that's had a great experience here at South Carolina, very articulate, well-spoken, is great with parents, great with young men. So a guy that's a great ambassador and representative of our university and our football program, no different than Robert Tucker, a guy that comes around a lot and is a part of our program. And it's a very unfortunate situation that he had. But certainly those guys are great ambassadors of our program.
Well, now that it's over, the early period in this first cycle that you had to go with it, you a fan of it? What's the good and what's the bad of having the early period now the wrap-up in February?
It was fine with me. I don't have any issues with it. It was hard, managing bowl practice and the early signing period, and then the volume of guys that we had signed. I didn't expect that. I didn't anticipate that many guys signing in December. But we also had 13 guys that were mid-year. So that was an interesting part of it. I don't know our numbers for next year. We should be still good because we're graduating our guys. But, I'm not opposed to the early signing period. And it helped us get a head start on 19s and 20s in January. You're able to see more of those guys, and you're further ahead on those classes now than we've ever been before at this time.
I don't mean to come across as Mr. Stupid, but
you do it well.
Thank you. I count 22, and you said you had 2 left. Is that because you're at 83?
No, Tyson Williams counts in this class as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I just wanted clarity.
Stay in the back. Coach, I guess how much more confidence do you have that this team will be able to control the line of scrimmage more, especially this recruiting class? You know that you want to get bigger, longer, and stronger. Now you have this group of guys coming in, the production you got last year. I guess I guess how strong you think you guys would be able to control the line of scrimmage?
Well, I think we improved our strength levels as a football team from last year, from our first year, excuse me. And but you got to continue to evolve, and you got to continue to add big people, strong people to your roster to be able to control the line of scrimmage, to have the ability to run the ball when you need to and stop the run. And it comes down to being a line of scrimmage game. That's what we're talking about. So, you know, I hope that the 10 big guys we sign that can help us next year. But generally, in my experience, has been the closer your position moves to the ball, the harder it is to play as a young player. But we're certainly not going to limit anybody's opportunities. They're going to get every opportunity in the world to come in and make an immediate impact on our football team.
Coach, you had 4 Gamecocks invited to the Combine. How exciting is that for you to see them get that opportunity?
Well, you know, again, those guys have worked extremely hard and certainly very deserving of the opportunity, as are some other guys that didn't get invited to the Combine, quite frankly. And so it's not an answer all to go to the Combine. I've had guys get drafted in the 3rd and 4th round that didn't go to the Combine. So they need to make their pro day count, and I know they will. But I'm proud of the 4 that got invited, and certainly I felt like we should add more.
Will, you mentioned needing help at safety. How is Jalen Dickerson? Is he going to be back this year? How's he looking?
He's going to be fine. He's not going to go through spring. They're going to limit his contact, but the surgery took very well. His nerves are fine, and they feel like his recovery is going extremely well. He is going through all of our off-season program. They just want to limit any contact in the spring, but he will be cleared for fall at this time. That's what we think. Shoulder, yes, sir.
Can you put a price or a value on Alshon Jeffrey, Stephon Gilmore in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, we got some good advertisement Sunday night.
And how much they talked about that matchup and showed them in their USC uniforms, all that good stuff. What was that? What kind of value is that?
Well, I think as much as anything, 2 guys that are, when you meet the guys, they're great people. You know, they're about the right things, and they've represented South Carolina in a first-class manner. They're 2 great players that obviously made a huge impact on their organizations this year. But you meet these guys and you enjoy being around them. Alshon comes to camp and Stephon comes around. I mean, so I enjoy those guys coming back and being a part of our program. It certainly helped us, and I'm happy that Alshon won it and Stephon got an opportunity to be there.
Coach, here in the back, you've hinted on it a few different times with the mid-year enrollees coming into the program. Just talk about what's the most important things for them over this next month as they get acclimated to the college environment and to your program. What do you need them to do over this next month to be successful Gamecocks?
Well, some of them right now are wondering why they wanted to be mid-year. We've had some fun mornings. But right now, it's not as chaotic as it is in the fall. I mean, you're not getting ready for a game. So right now our guys are getting oriented to the weight room. They're getting oriented to the workouts. They're getting used to the work capacity, which they've never worked at before. When we start spring ball, they're going to be able to learn the system. We're going to practice today, and then we're going to have an off day. So we're able to make the corrections and then install for the next day. But then the next day, we're going to go back over the installation again. So they're going to hear it twice, and then they get to go practice, and then we have an off day. So it's a slower process for them at this time. They're getting oriented academically to campus. They're not getting ready for a game. So the process is just a much more controlled environment. When they get in here in August, you know, it's like drinking water out of a fire hose. I mean, you're installing every day. There's sometimes I can't even get to the film from the previous day. You're going through things so quickly, and you're getting ready for a game, and you're making the decisions as a staff of who can help us, and you're making quick decisions in that 12th, 13th, 16th, 18th practice of who we need to narrow down and start repping. So it's just a much different mentality going into fall camp as opposed to being here at this time. And I've never seen this not work and not be a success for a young man academically, athletically, in any situation.
2 quick questions. Will you be shopping the grad transfer market at all?
Well, I think anytime we can improve our roster, we'll certainly try to.
Mm-hmm. And secondly, coming off a bowl win and a 9-win season, how did you sense the players that you were still recruiting after the bowl season, the reception that you got and the awareness that people now have of your program?
Well, I think that when you go out recruiting and really in our area is more of South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida, in that track of seeing high school coaches and seeing prospects, and there's a very positive buzz about our program right now, but we've got to continue to press it forward, and that's the bottom line. And I like the mentality. Just the 3 days that I've been with our football team, the last 3 mornings have been very good. I see a lot of buy-in, a lot of commitment, and I've been pleased with what we've done so far.
Going back to the mid-year guys real quick, I know you said it's chaotic for them, but is there anyone that's really separated themselves and is leading the pack, make the transition look simple?
We've had 3 days. We got a long way to go.
In terms of quarterback snaps, how much of spring practice will be about Jake Bentley's continued development, and how much will be you figuring out or beginning to figure out who your backup's going to be?
Well, we got to figure out who the backup is, and obviously to continue to progress Jake. I have not sat down with the offensive staff and talked in terms of how far ahead we get on that, and we'll certainly visit that next week.
Will, following up on that, how much room do guys like a Bentley and a Brunson get? I mean, do they have to go as hard in spring practice, or will you try to get your backups a little bit more?
No, they better. They got to get better.
Any other questions for Coach? Dwayne?
Anybody new been put on scholarship? Any walk-ons?
Mm-hmm.
Coach, earlier you mentioned Bryson and Debo making their progression to being limited in the spring. I guess how much have they progressed, from the injuries to now, with this season coming up in which they return, hoping to make contributions, to a good team?
Well, they need to make contributions. So, but Bryson's really been cleared for about everything, just no contact. So really in our off-season program, he's going through everything that we go through. He's limited a little bit with some of the upper body things that we do. And then Debo right now has been limited a little bit more to just, jogging and on the bike as far as that progression is concerned. But, we feel like both guys, again, moving into fall camp will be ready to go. All right, thank you.